All right, so today is March 27th, and this is going to be a new series. We're going to try to do some regular videos during the course of the week, during the field season, and then uploading them onto the UD Extension webpage. So this is a new endeavor. We'll see how it goes. Today, the whole crew is out in an alfalfa field. We've got stakes out here. This field is way over alfalfa weevil threshold. These larvae started hatching out about 2 weeks ago. Let's see if I can pull that. I don't know if the phone's going to pick that up or not. But we've got 2 weevil larvae on that leaflet. There might be another one down in here somewhere. Yep, there's a third one. So these are small. It's a little chilly today, a little windy, but we're going to drop a spray trial because it's the best timing that works with my schedule. Ideally, we would want it to be about 5 to 10 degrees warmer, not windy, so we can put our plot trials out. We're going to evaluate Steward, which is the insecticide that I recommend, against a couple of oldie-goodie organophosphates, some pyrethroids, and then tank mixtures of all of those, and 2 carbamates. And we're also going to evaluate a new material that Syngenta is working with and hopes to bring onto market fairly soon. So it's going to be a fun trial. We've got 15 treatments out here. We just spent some time laying it off, and the crew is about to take our pre-treatment sample. So over here we have Bukola. She's a graduate student from Mike Crossley's lab up on main campus. Tabu Magala, also a graduate student. They came down to experience the fun of putting out spray trials. Tori Smith, Tim Sowers, and Jace Hudson. So they're about to go grab ourselves a pre-treatment sample. The crew is gathering pre-treatment samples. We base our thresholds on the number of weevils per 30 stems. We're going to collect 10 stems from each plot. This field was about 5 times over threshold, so we should still get plenty of weevils for good treatment separation. So here we're mixing up product. So here's a pyrethroid. They sometimes work okay and sometimes don't work well enough. But unfortunately, it's got a really goopy formulation, which is annoying when dispensing out of these little pipettes, because there's always a little bit left in there. Suck it up, drop it, suck it up, and drop it. Barb, if you watch this, I'm sorry for grabbing the pipetter out of the pesticide building. Putting this one in a couple of different tanks. And when I'm off station like this, I just drop the pipetter right into the canister. We'll fish it out later when we're cleaning these tanks up at this research station. But that way I know that I'm not contaminating anything else. All right. Treatment 2. Where is treatment 2? So, Warrior being a very cheap insecticide, if I'm interested, I will tank mix it with certain materials. Imidan should work by itself. In theory, Mustang would work by itself, but we've got a pretty limited amount of kill that we get with the pyrethroids. So this field is 4 times over threshold. We might kill half of those weevil larvae with Mustang. That still leaves the field twice over threshold. So yeah, that's why I do a couple of tank mixes.
Do you have to be ingested by the weevil?
Most of these are contact. Steward has to be ingested. But when it's cold like this morning, those weevil larvae are hiding deep in the terminals. So they're just not coming out to get into contact, and they're not feeding. So that spray that just went across that field, it would have been better if it had been done tomorrow, when it's going to be warmer and those weevils are going to be up and at them. So, however, since that field did just get sprayed, that gives me perfect justification to spray this field. Here's what happens when you spray it when it's a little on the chilly side. This land ain't going to work.
Yeah.
Probably not. But that's why we do these tests. It is April 1st, and Ben is counting Seedcorn maggot on a sticky card from a pea field planted about 2 weeks ago over in Maryland. Bait it with AgBio's Delia lure. There's just a handful of flies on there. Getting ready to plant our Seedcorn maggot trials this year. We tilled in a cover crop and weeds yesterday. Spread chicken manure. Tilled that in. Spread dog food on top of that for some of these plots. It's the beginning of the 2024 campaign. Very exciting. Justin over there is laying off alleys. He's marking alleys with the tractor. So that way we'll plant with a cone planter and we can drop seed exactly where it needs to go. So as I said the other day, this is going to be kind of a in-season vlog. I do not promise you good or professional video quality, but just kind of a record, if you will, of what we're doing here at the Extension Entomology Lab during the growing season. And maybe it'll be useful or interesting to somebody. So what I'm trying to do right now is one-handedly spread dog food out on plots. Why dog food on these Seedcorn maggot plots? Well, there's plenty of fly activity right now, but I want this plot to be as smelly and stinky as I can make it. That's why we tilled in the cover crop, tilled in poultry manure, and now we're spreading this out. The historical recipe for Seedcorn maggot trials was to put meat and bone meal out in plots. Well, that was all supplied by a particular company, and I lost my supply of meat and bone meal a couple years ago. Turns out dog food has a lot of meat and bone meal in it. So put this out, and if we don't feed the birds, which we sometimes do quite a bit, then we will be making very happy flies. We'll also make happy raccoons, but they're going to be attracted to this. They'll feed on this. Most flies need protein to lay eggs, so we're going to give them a good protein snack this evening. Looked at the weather forecast. There is a slight chance of some sprinkles tonight, which would be ideal. I hope that happens. But if not, we've got good field moisture, and it's forecast to rain cats and dogs on Monday. We'll see what happens then. So that is a Seedcorn maggot trial. Ben, thank you much for planning. Say hi.
Hello.
All right. Well, it's Friday evening. We're going to put this dog food out and then call it a weekend. See y'all next week.